And we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Tiki Taka Podcast, episode number 88. I'm your host, Peter, and today I'm joined by Cynthia.
It's episode 88.
Oh
That's
my
how
god,
JJ
that's.
pronounces it, everybody. 88.
Take Spanish lessons from the man.
Shall
Uh,
we?
yeah. Patrick
Hi guys.
and Bruno, I think for like the last time in 6 weeks.
No, I have a
No,
couple
no,
more
no. End of
weeks
the
left.
month.
Take it
Yeah.
Okay.
easy.
Yeah.
I
You
wanted
Try to
can't
to
get
get
rid of
rid
me
of
that
him.
much.
I
Jeez.
wanted to know. I wanted to know. I wanted to know. Because I
You
did
can't get
ask
rid of me
like
that easy.
two
Take
more
it easy.
weeks.
I know you're dying.
Is it two
You and
more
that
weeks?
Lumpio Nation.
It's
You and that
true.
Lumpio
Bruh.
Nation is counting down the days, but trust me, you're gonna have to deal with me just a little while longer.
The 2 weeks, three
Just to the
weeks,
end of the
4 weeks. The
month.
people need to know.
Just the end of the month.
So
You
two
guys
more
are
weeks,
bad.
right?
Listen, you know what? They're gonna have to continue to tune in to see the day that I'm not here. How about that?
That's a good way to get more viewers. Next podcast episode is gonna be, is Bruno still around? That's
It,
gonna be the
it, it,
title,
yeah, it's gonna have
and
to
that's
be
why people
every
are gonna
week.
tune in.
And then
Every
where in
week
the
Like,
people
world
are
is
gonna have to.
Bruno San Diego?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not from San Diego, but
It's from, you know what? If you don't know, then you're clearly either
I
younger
know what you
than
mean.
me.
That was me. That was my way to burn up your joke, but it's all good. Let's move
You
on.
ruined it.
We
You
have
ruined
lots
it
to
all
for
talk
me.
about.
right, yeah, we do. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Anyway, we'll start with Benfica, which won 5-0. Right. Okay, 5-0. I had a brain fart there. Anyway, so Bruno Varela was in goal. André Almeida, Ruben Dias, Jardel, and Alex Grimaldo across the back. We had a midfield trio of Feza, Pizzi, and Zivkovic, and the front three of Rafa, Servi, and Jonas. Cynthia, I'll let you go first. What did you think about this game?
Before I get into what I thought of it, I'd just like to point out to any of the haters that come at me with this bullshit of they opened their legs. Okay, when y'all beat a team 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, you guys were dominant. But when we do it, it's polvu. Come off it. I don't want to hear it. So first 15 minutes, I was worried. I think they were feeling out the rain and Muritumu's gameplay. Then 15 minutes in, Jonas scored. It was a great play and finish. Then at 21 minutes, Grimaldo had the goal. At 34, Jonas had a top of net goal, which was fantastic. 41 minutes was the PK for Rafa. Jonas scored, obviously. It was a great shot. And the back foot is what trips Rafa. So I thought it was a good call because at first I didn't even see it. And then in the 80th minute, Zivko got a goal as well. So again, great shot from him. Pizzi got his fifth yellow, so bye. And then at 54 minutes,
On purpose.
yeah, exactly. Thank God. Bye. And then at 54 minutes, Gamboa is shown a red card. And it's deserved because he took cleats to the knee and he didn't play the ball at all. So I don't want to hear, because I saw some people were like, "Oh, it's a soft." Are
It's
you
not
serious right
soft.
now?
What?
Tried to rip somebody's knee out of its socket. That's not soft. Oh my Lord. If I'm not allowed to do it to you, it's not a soft goddamn penalty. But yeah, that's my little the breakdown of all the goals, really.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I thought it was entertaining. And then obviously when it gets into Uncle Lasso, it's just, you're watching it and you're like, I feel for the bad guys, but do I really? Not really. So we got to win. We got to continue to win. That's it.
Yeah, I thought that the first 15 minutes weren't good, and I thought Maritimo, had some chances. They were pressing.
Mhm.
It was reminding me back to what Bruno said last week, where he was like, "Oh, I want to see how Maritimo play," and they were overly aggressive. They were really pressing the lines, and I thought that they were doing a good job. But when you're Benfica and it all it takes is one shot with John is really, I mean, the guy is a tremendous goal scorer. And, as soon as it's 1-0, the game, it's completely turned on its back. Maybe he has plenty of chances. I mean, to add to the one that wasn't a goal, we had Servi clear through on goal, and he decided to pass it to Pizzi, was offside, and but Benfica had plenty of chances. Jana scored that worldie, which I think would probably be one of the best goals in the league, if not the best. But anyway, I just want to touch up on a couple of things. I want to say that I think that Andre Almeida, he's not world class by all means, but I think he's very capable of doing, a good job. And it's surprising me how much he's grown throughout the season, and it shows that players don't need to be 22 or 23 to become important players. I mean, he's 28 and he's regularly improving every year. So I think he's a solid player. Obviously, he's no Nelson Smith, but I thought he had a very good game. And the team just keeps on playing well. When they get that goal, the team gets confident, and a hat trick for Jonas. He's already got 30 goals. So it was a good win by Benfica. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't know if the Portista wants to weigh in on this.
Of course he does.
Patrick, please go ahead first.
That's never a good sign.
He's smart. It means that he's got to talk a lot.
Well, I'll start by saying that I fully expected Benfica to put a few past Maritim, but Maritim actually started quite well. But then again, all it took was one goal for everything to go down the landslide again, and Benfica were well on top. I think Maritim will be a bit disappointed with the goals that they conceded. Obviously, the first one was that Jonas goal that went near post, but he was quite far away, still within the area, but quite far away. And I don't think the goalie will be too pleased to concede a goal like that. And then obviously that second one is the goal that everyone talks about because the Marítimo player has a bit of a brain fart. I don't know what happened. I've seen it happen before, so I don't think it's a huge deal. But it's one of the most bizarre things we will see this season anyway. And then obviously there's that Jonas goal, which it was a great goal, but again it goes like directly over the goalie, which I think the goalie was a bit stunned by it. So when you top up the goals plus the penalty, there's a collection of goals that I think on another day may have been avoidable. And when you concede goals like that, especially away at Benfica, then you're going to get punished for it. I'm not taking any merit away from Benfica. I think they're the better side all game. Zivkovic, who scored a fifth, had another great game through the middle of the park. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just think if I was Marítimo manager, I'd be a bit disappointed with the goals I conceded. But all in all, decent result for Benfica, and they could carry on their chase now after Porto.
All right, I just want to rebuttal something really quickly before Bruno pops in. I just want to say that obviously, yes, some of the goals obviously come from mistakes that it can be avoidable, but it's football, and if mistakes don't happen, goals don't get scored. I just want to say that because we can point fingers at certain plays or whatever, but if there's no mistakes, then we wouldn't have any goals, basically. So just saying. Brun.
My turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh man, I'm so happy now. So, I mean, I watched the highlights in this game because I kind of knew what was going to happen. They say that Marítimo started off very strong, first 15 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Isso foi tudo pro o English ver. Nothing really serious. I think they had, one shot? Is that correct? Something like that? They had one shot.
Look at the stats.
They had one shot on goal, and then first goal that was conceded. I mean, it was a shot. It was a typical play from, play to the top of the box. I kind of question Fabio Pacheco's, we'll call it his ability to close down Jonas on that. I thought he was very, very slow and didn't move as quickly as a player with some desire to stop the ball or a shot would. The second goal, well, I mean, I don't have to say it. Maritimu said it. I mean, when your coach comes out and calls the team out, and the president comes out and calls the team out, and now they disallowed Fabio Pacheco to train today. I don't think I have to say anything more about that player. I mean, now I just want to see what the red press is going to cover, if they're going to cover, if they're going to put this immense pressure on Maritimo like they did on Sturil about, investigating this game, because we have to be fair to everybody. If you're going to talk about the Sturil Porto game and you're going to question the Sturil players, well, you have to do the same thing this way as well.
Can I just mention, though, for the Estoril game, what I didn't like is it was how many days apart?
37.
37. What's the rule? 36 hours. So that's fun. And then fun fact, you fielded like an entirely new 11. So that's the only thing that I question. I didn't question Estoril until I saw them playing like shit. And I was like, whatever, this is going to happen. But that day that they were beating you going into halftime, that would have been nice to see that game end that way. But it happens. I'm not going to.
You're hoping. You don't know what could have happened in the second half.
Neither do you. Neither do you, and we will never know because apparently they don't have a safe stadium.
Stadium.
Yeah, real quick, what was the minute of Benfica's second goal? Because you said it.
I don't know. All I know is they.
No, I want to watch. I want to watch
21.
I want to watch the play.
Romaldo scored at 21.
Okay, I'm going to check the play again.
They conceded 4 goals in one half. Now, if Maritimo was, I think, the 7th place team in the league, if Maritimo was the 7th place team in the league and they have one of the better defenses in the league and you're giving up 4 goals in the first half, some people might agree with Carlos Pereira and Daniel Ramos about their players and their, and their desire to win the game. Listen,
I gotta watch it again.
It's very, very sketchy. So,
it is what it is. Fluminense also have one of the best defenses in the league, but no, but Bruno does have a point where people were talking about and I personally still I found out today that Pinto Costa has a picture with Abner's agent. It doesn't mean much.
It's not Abner's agent.
People can speculate. All right,
it's not Abner's agent. It's not Abner's agent.
Okay, that's what I would. That's what I heard.
Felipe, it's Monteiro's agent, not Abner's agent. But don't forget that agent and Bonaventura, whatever his name is, Boaventura, they don't get along. And was it Cesar Boaventura? That's his name.
Yeah.
And he's been linked.
The fact that
he's been linked to Benfica. He has a player in England, which is Mika, where he transferred. And there was already emails leaked out where people were questioning or people wanted their commission from that transfer, and he hasn't paid it yet. And the guy's been over there for 3 seasons now. And by the way, Boaventura is very strongly linked to Luis Felipe Vieira. So, and don't forget, he didn't confirm nor did he deny that he was the one that started the whole investigation, that he called in he had the anonymous tip to the Polícia Judiciária about that game. So all in all, this guy has there's a lot of baggage that comes with him. He doesn't get along with this player. Abner, by the way, because we were talking about this in our chat earlier in the day, but for our fans to know, is that Abner has been requesting prior to the Estoril Porto game to be transferred. He wanted to go back to Brazil. They didn't allow him. Do not forget that also in this particular game, Estoril was missing 10 players because they brought in a whole bunch of different new players that have been starting the last couple of weeks. But now my question is this, because I know Cynthia was kind of, hinting, she didn't like this, she didn't like that.
Yeah,
Are
no,
they
I
going to
know.
investigate? Are they going to investigate Braga giving 6 to Estoril away? 3 goals in the first half, 3 goals in the second half. Maybe Sporting should be like, hey, well, listen, they're trying to catch
Is that what
third
we have
place.
to do now? We have to investigate everybody?
But this is where it's getting to. We're getting to a point in Portugal. That's what it is. But I'm just throwing it out there because I know people are going to talk about but Estoril, blah, blah. Listen, Estoril also lost 6-0. They lost. They got smacked by Chaves as well. I mean, Porto had that was one of their biggest games. They knew that going into that game, that was going to be one of the most defining moments of the season. Was if they can go to Estoril, which traditionally they have a very difficult time. If they can get 3 points and turn around a 1-0 game, everything is it puts immense pressure on Benfica to be 5 points out versus was it 2 or 3?
2.
3 points out?
2.
Yeah, or
2.
whatever. So like it was 2 points. So it was a big win for Porto. Now it seems like everything. It's going to go back and forth. It's everything. You're going to say it week in, week out, because then, in the Three Tugas podcast, the two Benfica guys that are on that podcast, they questioned Portimonense the week after. Oh, how does Porto score 5 goals against Portimonense? Well, because Porto was better. That's it. I mean, Porto was better. They came in to kill, and they've been going in to kill every game. They didn't kill Sporting in the first 20 minutes because the ball just wouldn't go in, versus against other teams that they would go in. So, I mean, that's just basically how everything has been working for, what's going to be going on these next couple of weeks. This is what we're going to be looking into. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I rewatched the goal, and right now I'm rewatching the game because why not? But anyway, and I think it's I think we're clutching at straws here. I mean, come on, like honestly, I've
Clutching
seen,
at
I've seen,
straws.
I've seen,
What are you
I've
talking
seen, I've seen, I've seen much worse, right? I've seen a Tondela player literally offer the ball to Marega, and unfortunately, Bruno couldn't be here for this podcast, which was was sucked. But we saw the Tondela player literally hand the ball to Marega, and he scored the goal. And and obviously some people are gonna say, "Oh, what Patricia is gonna say now? Was he bought or something?" And I think that's a much bigger mistake, especially in a game that ended 1-0, than right here on that goal, on that second goal, which I think it's a mistake that could have been avoidable, but it's not the end of the world. And like Patrick said, you've seen players do that, so it's not even the first time that something like that has happened. Just I don't know what you want to say to that.
I think the actual mistake from Pacheco it was so bad that I don't think if he wanted to replicate it, he could. It was one of those.
exactly, because how did the ball manage to go through his legs? Yeah,
I don't know. It's just the message.
It
The
wasn't through
message
his
from
legs.
the message from brain to feet. Just somewhere down the line, it just disconnected, and that's what happened.
So Patrick,
My
you
son
say
would call him a
that
noob.
Patrick, you say that he can or cannot replicate that.
He
can't.
cannot.
It was
He
so
cannot.
bad he
Okay.
cannot.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
it's very strange that his president and his coach did not allow him to train today. So
Yeah, but then again, his president is a loose
Cannon?
cannon.
well, remember, his president has also been quoted in newspapers before that he would never do anything to impede Benfica to win a title. So
Right,
he's just
Kim.
nuts.
I just like
Yeah, he's
I like to stir the pot a little bit.
A little bit?
no,
This is
but
why
no,
people
but
need a
no,
vacation
but
from you.
but no. I think Patrick has a point, and I watched all the replays, and I think it's 9 out of 10 times that ball hits his feet. So I think it would be too much. But anyway, when you score 5 goals and you could score 20 more, it's hard to say that something was rigged. Like Bruno was saying that Porto were better, and so were Benfica in this game. And no
That's my
debates.
point. But that's my point, Peter. That's my point. My point is that when a team wins by that big of a margin, it's because they were much better. I'm throwing out these
Right.
other things about this player and that player is because everybody was talking about Sturiel. So if you're going to talk about one, you have to talk about them all. If you're going to question one team, you
I
have to
get it.
question them all.
No, I
So
get
I
I
mean,
get it.
that's the reason why I bring everything up because I know that fans like to all of a sudden, Sturiel did this and they were bought and blah blah blah. Well, if they were bought, then they must have been bought by Braga. They must have been bought by Chaves. They must have been bought by a lot of different teams. But, sooner or later we'll find out the truth about that game.
I don't think everybody has this amount of money. Like this,
Eh,
money's
Well,
flowing.
hold on a second. And there's another thing, Cindy, that I wanted to mention. Remember, the second half should have never been played because, according to the rules in the rule book,
Are we going
is
to
that
get back into this?
no? But I'm saying, I just wanted to
What's his
mention
point?
that.
Let
It's
me
like
hear his point.
no,
I know what he's going to say. It's going
the
to be Studios' fault, and they should be deducted the 3 points. That's what he's going to tell you.
that's exactly it. You
See?
you said it all right there.
Well,
It should have been.
37 days later, they were deducted the 3 points.
It
So
don't.
next,
I'm not sure it's Surreal's fault though, because at the end of the day, you went back and played on the same stadium with. Were there any changes to the stadium? I don't think there were.
Yes,
put new concrete.
Anything
yes, there were.
worthy.
Okay,
Yes,
but
there
listen,
were.
it goes back. It goes back to the initial argument that we had on that day. Was if your parents give you permission to drive a broken car, and the car breaks down, you can't be blamed for the car breaking down. It's the
You don't need
exact
to
same
use
thing.
an
If the
analogy.
Liga,
The
if
Liga
the
allowed
Liga
it.
if the Liga gives permission for the game to be played, then you can't blame the team for something to happen because the league has to oversee everything that's happening in the stadium, and they need to give the heads up that it's good to go. You know.
See,
So,
to me, the funniest thing about that was that they got to the stage where they managed to reposition everyone, and then like ready for the game to go ahead, and then they sort of just decided to pull back on their decision and cancel everything. And even then, when they cancel everything, part of me doesn't understand why they couldn't, for example, have decided to, within a day or two, book a date and we'll play at Bundense Stadium or something nearby. I think that could have been done more efficiently, to be honest.
Well,
And then
remember,
it's
that's
happened with
Porto.
Benfica. It happened with Benfica. It happened with Sporting. You know, even in the freaking derby, and the game was played the next day. And Porto has always seemed to have this thing where they have this game every now and then, and where they play like a month later. It happened with Stupol a couple of years ago, and it's just annoying because the regulations say one thing, and and I gotta agree with Patrick here because the regulations say one thing. You can't do another. At least open an exception. So something like if the team has to travel back in the same day, they have like a 2-month period to reschedule the game or something like that. At least give us something that goes beyond that rule. An exception because he's speaking the truth. Because either the Liga deducts the 3 points like you wanted, or says no, it's our fault and the game's going to be played tomorrow or the day after that.
well, that's how it has to be. The league has to be. They're the ones that are actually responsible for this. It's no one else.
Mm-hmm.
It's nobody. It's
No, I
not.
know.
If you want to blame Sturiel, well, Sturiel knew about it. They knew about their problem. They just didn't do anything about it. And so on and so forth.
Well, it's the same thing like I was telling you with the car trouble. If you go to the mechanic and the mechanic says your car's fine, you're not going to fix it when he says
You
it's
have
fine.
car trouble, Peter.
No, it's just the easiest argument that I come with.
All right.
That I come up with. But it's the truth, right? You're not going to fix your car if the mechanic says that it's not broken. Right?
Oh, we have a comment.
It is what it is.
Okay, Bruno, listen. This is for you. This is from our
What?
buddy Hugo Sanch. He's like, Bruno, you're being silly now. Estoril and Porto is a story very badly told. There's no point bringing up the recent or past results. It's got nothing to do with it. Toma lá e anda, Bruno.
Well,
Hugo's listening. Why couldn't we get Hugo and freaking Bruno on the pod? That would have been nice.
This is what happens. Like, I understand that like people are going to come at me like that because you know why? Now people are questioning Benfica's result with Maritimo. See, if that never happened, Porto would never question the Maritimo or their president would question Maritimo or like that. No one would ever be saying anything about it. They would just continue to harp on Stril. Have you noticed that all of a sudden everything died about Stril? Nothing has been talked about since. It would happen that whole week, blah, 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 and then boom, it's dead. Why? Because all of a sudden they started questioning Maritimo and their players. So all of a sudden the whole thing just died out. The red press just said, "Oh well, you know what? Let's not bring that up no more." And and then they'll quickly stop talking about they'll stop talking about the other game.
I still think that it's something that's worth talking about because of the 700,000 or whatever that money transfer just happened at a very shady time, but it's not worth getting back into it. I mean,
the only thing that bothers me is, like I said, you like to say rules are rules. They should have lost the 3 points. Okay, well, rules are rules. Why wasn't it played like 36 hours later?
Okay,
rules
but
are rules.
That's part of the rules. Later. The part of the hold on, Cynthia. But the part of the rules also it stipulates that both clubs have to come to an agreement. Never does it say that the league should step in if the two teams can't come to an agreement. So what? All of a sudden they couldn't come to agreement, and that was the end of that. And then they eventually just said, "Oh well, we'll have to play somewhere else." Because remember, it wouldn't have been an issue if Porto played on a Saturday or a Sunday, but no, they played on a Friday that week. So they had to stay an extra day.
Shouldn't even make it even easier. It would make it even easier because you would have a Saturday and a Sunday to decide the game, or even a Monday. So
what are you talking about?
I think the game was
on a Monday.
Shut down.
No, the game was on a Monday. Right. Hold on, the game was on a Monday, so that means they would have to resolve the game on Tuesday, and then they would have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then
5 minutes. You weren't going to have to play a whole 90-minute game. You had 45 minutes to play.
It doesn't matter, but now you're prejudicing. You're prejudicing the preparation for the next game. So I mean, that's just how things are. The problem is the rules. The rules are that both teams have to come to an agreement. Both teams couldn't come to agreement. The league should have stepped in and said, "Okay, no, you have to do this." But that's not how the rules are written. It doesn't say anything about the league not stepping in. So. Yeah, don't blame Porto. Blame the league.
Of course, we're gonna blame Porto.
Nobody's blaming Porto. We're just, Cynthia has the right.
That's not how it sounds like.
Nah, Bruno.
Well, welcome to my world. Everything sounds cool for Benfica.
Scheduling isn't Benfica's fucking hell. Isn't Porto's fault.
Wait a minute.
Maybe it is.
Hugo has another comment for you, buddy. He says Estoril did not know they had a problem. Bro, everything was fine with the stand, hence why the the Porto fans were allowed to return to the stand, and it was fine for the next home game they had against Sporting. And he's continuing.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Hugo, get on the damn
Incorrect. Incorrect.
And then he says, yes, there was a crack in the stand, but it was still deemed safe for the fans. Sporting fans were allowed on it the next match, but your fans still decided to pitch.
Incorrect. That is so incorrect.
Pitch invaders.
That is so incorrect. Because they actually had a game after that, and the bancada was closed. I believe it was against Bolonense. If it was closed, then the stadium must have been.
There were a few
must have been safe. No,
there were a few stragglers on there, even during that other game. I
Not
remember
the Bolonense game. Not the Bolonense game.
Yes,
and I was like, why are they on there? Because I was like, I'm pretty sure that was
that's dangerous. Security. That's on security. That's on security. Okay. Well, let me. I always ask the question to these people. Would you go with your family on that bancada after the police told the Porto fans to get off? I wouldn't. I wouldn't take my wife and my kid on there. Would you take your kids and your husband on?
No, but what if somebody suddenly just decided to say, "Oh my God, the stand isn't safe" or whatever, and they all just start panicking, and then the police goes around and actually oversees everything and says, "Oh no, this is fine. You guys can come back here." That's what I don't understand.
Remember,
didn't they allow
the police?
They did. They actually put him back in.
Exactly.
No,
so
that was the PA announcer that said that. He never.
No, it was not the PA announcer. It was not the PA announcer.
What do you mean it was the PA? You can clearly hear on the video that it was him.
You can see the images, and you can see the security guys telling
mushing them
to
back
come
in.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them to come over. There's not an issue. You can see that on video. But why are we wasting so much time in this game, though?
I don't know.
It's
Okay,
just
but
a thing.
I'm just saying. I
You're
wanted
always
to
just
make
saying.
it clear. I wanted to make it clear. You go get your facts straight, buddy.
Nope. He says it's not incorrect. It's a fact. My point is that there were no works done on the stand.
That's
Hugo
not true
needs to
either.
come on.
Because
All right, we
that's
need,
oh my god,
All
this
right,
guy's a
you guys
liar.
need a
Is this
room.
guy is his name Hugo or Pinocchio?
bro. Hugo would
What?
absolutely wreck. It would be funny. I'm gonna try and get him on. I'm gonna try and get him on.
Yeah, we'll have to do
This
it next time.
This guy has got to be. His name's got to be
He-
Pinocchio because he's
Your
he's
name's
lying out of
Pinocchio.
it. With every tooth in his mouth, he's lying.
He would
Every
fight
tooth in
you.
his
He would
mouth.
fight
You're
you at
so
your own
weird.
game. He would fight you at your own game. It would be really funny. But all right, we gotta move on, guys. So
We're
I hope
moving on,
Patrick-
Ugu. Cala-te.
I hope Patrick
Olha.
has the Sporting lineup ready because we're gonna get to that part.
Because there was a Classico, guys. We can't
You're
keep talking
right.
about Benfica
Yeah,
and other
exactly.
things.
So I'm sorry, Bruno, but I'm gonna ask you to give out the Porto lineup, and then Patrick will do the Sporting, and then we'll start discussing the game because we gotta move on, guys.
Oh, we have to move on.
We have to.
It was
move
such
on.
an interesting
We
conversation. All right,
With
know.
Porto's
you, it
lineup
always
is the following: Iker Casillas in goal, Maxi Pereira at right back, Felipe Marcano the two center backs, and the Yug Dalot at the left back position. We played it says here on the application 4-4-2, but in reality it was a 4-3-3. Herrera's the 6, Oliveira is the 8, Otavio is the 10, Marega on the right. On the left, it was Brahimi, and up top was Gonçalo Paciencia.
And for Sporting, we had. All right. Do you want me to say it now, or?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was gonna say go ahead. So
Yeah,
You beat
okay. For Sporting, obviously, Patricio in goal, Coentrão at left back with Mathieu and Coates at the heart of defence, Ristovski completing the back line at right back, a midfield of William Carvalho, Battaglia and Bruno Fernandes, Marcos Acuna and Brian Ruiz on the flanks with Dumbia in attack.
all right. So let me start with the neutrals first. I think that would be best, and then we let both of you guys help in the opinion on the game. I mean, Cynthia.
Anything but neutral.
You know what I meant. You know what I meant. Don't be silly.
I just think it's funny. The neutrals.
I mean, we are technically, even though we would prefer one team to win, we were still neutral to.
I didn't want that at all. I wanted
a
a tie.
game, right?
I really am a neutral.
Okay, you wanted a tie. All right. Well, anyway, Cynthia,
Yeah.
let you go first because
I took notes, so
neutrals
I'm just
first.
going to read my notes, and then you guys can rip it apart afterwards. Tá bem?
First.
So my first
Go
note
for
of
it.
the day. You ready?
Curly Sue.
Coentrão is a freaking pateta. Why is he never carded? I don't understand. We're giving him a pass. He's a jackass. So, getting into the game, 11:46 in. There's this great save from Rui Patricio, and then the Sporting defender actually saves what would have been the first goal. I thought that was a great play. I even tweeted this game is on fire right now, and it's fantastic. On the replay, it was actually the post. Patricio did nothing, so the defender saved them and the post saved them.
Yeah, it
20
was
minutes in.
Brian Ruiz actually.
Exactly. He got his name back, poor guy. 20 minutes in, Iker made a great save as well. So we're going back and forth, obviously. 25 minutes, Porto with a chance. 28th minute was the first goal. There was a good play from the corner, and they moved it around to open up the Sporting players because they were just like a wall. And so Porto just played them, and it was fantastic. 45 plus a half a minute. Sporting tie it, so it's 1-1 before the halftime. It was a good play. It wasn't that great of a shot, but it scored, so it went right through the legs. 48 minutes, so now we're in the second half. Porto come in and they score. It was a good setup. Sporting didn't have a couple of guys covered, I mean, so they just passed the ball to whoever they wanted, and they got a good shot. Brahimi was the one that took the shot, and he was open. It was craziness. 64 minutes in, Brian Ruiz missed a header. It went off the outside of the post. So it was, too far to to outside. And Philippe got a yellow. Yay! That's for you, Bruno. 73 minutes, there's Eker with a good save on a free kick. 78th, Sporting defender with another great save when Patricio was beat. And then 85th minute, Freddie couldn't get a good shot. Eker waits for him to have manners and help him up, and he just walks away. Like, Eker's just sitting there, like, looking at him like, hello. I thought that was hilarious. 88 minutes, we got a high and wide shot. You need to make those to stay in the game, and that was Sporting. And then the 4 minutes extra time, and he actually did 4 minutes, which was hilarious. And then I thought it was a good back and forth otherwise. Entertaining because, again, I'm a neutral. And to the Sporting fans, I just wanted to put F the numbers and keep your heads up, because regardless of which team I like or you like, we have that passion and the love for our teams, right? So you're still in the competitions. You won the Taça the Liga, the little ones. So just keep your head up. Don't be an ass. And ignore the asses, really.
All right. So let me hop in. By the way, I thought that you were good with the notes, and I was remembering that Bataglia play, and I thought he was going to let the ball go in. I was like, why is he still slowing down?
Oh, sorry. And I also forgot. I think it is a penalty on Doumbia, but I don't think it's a penalty on Brahimi. Brahimi, I think, dove, but on Doumbia, I think it would have. I would have called a penalty, and then with Brahimi, I would have given Brahimi the yellow for diving. So that's just me.
All right. Well, we'll circle back to that in the end.
Yes, I know. I just wanted to get all my notes.
No, that's cool. No, don't worry. Anyway, I thought it was a good game. It wasn't perfect. There were times where it was kind of boring, but you kind of expect that out of this big game, right? If you're not, if it's not your team, you're not going to be as invested at certain times. But I thought it was a good game. I thought both teams had good chances. I actually thought Sporting actually played well, which is surprising because this was like their fourth derby / Classico, I think, and that's the first one that they play well. But I thought that Steph was that Patrick, my bad, sorry, sorry Patrick, was actually kind of right in the way that Sporting were going to, play some decent football and actually try and go for the game, which I thought they did. It was weird seeing them go 1-0 down because I didn't think they deserved it. But they got the level goal, they got the tying goal, with Leão. But then the issue was that they conceded really early on in the second half, and I think that Porto kind of controlled the game at their own pace, and Sporting did try to create some chances, but at the end they just couldn't capitalize on them. And you can debate that a tie probably would have been a fair result, but at the end of the day, it's one of those games where you have to capitalize on your opportunities, and you didn't. So, all right. So now I wanna hear Patrick first because I know Bruno's
crazy.
How Bruno is. So
yeah. So good game between two teams going for the win. And as Peter referenced. Going back, I expected Sporting to come out and play for the win because realistically, if Sporting were to believe that they could be champions, they needed to win here and knock some points within the gap between them and Porto. And I think we faced up quite well. William had a really good game, which was important to escape the pressing from Porto and then feed the ball into the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Brian Ruiz, who were a lot. We essentially didn't have like a right winger. Porto played their play so much on their own right that players like Brian Ruiz and Bruno Fernandes could rotate and add to the numbers. And I thought that was we created quite a lot of danger. And I think that was the first situation, other than Porto's Liverpool game, where you could really notice the difference between a Porto with and without Danilo. I'm not sure too many more teams other than Benfica will be able to exploit that going forwards, but it's something to note on Porto's behalf. But yeah, we were competitive, and like I said, if we can manage to get our numbers right, battle within the zones that need to be won, then I think we could have given Porto a good game, and we did. Also, going back to last week, I can't remember who it was. Someone asked me about Coentrão coming back, and I said I didn't really fancy it, and I think
Use me.
yeah, I think it showed on the day. And the thing with me is that obviously Coentrão is the only left back, but even when Jonathan was with us, I think he was by far the easiest choice to be our left back. My only issue with Coentrão is I'm not sure whether he has the engine to compete within such a big game, especially against players like Marega, who are not only are much stronger but they're much quicker. I had serious doubts about him coming into this game, and I think that battle between Marega and Coentrão, and what was interesting was that Porto looked like they were lining up in a 4-3-3, but a lot of the time it was actually a 4-4-2, and Marega would be in as the second striker, and he'd make that run just behind Coentrão. So Coentrão had literally no awareness of what was going on behind him, and Marega was just hitting the channels with ease. I think that was the killer for us. It's obviously no coincidence that both Porto's goals came from our left. Essentially, I think that's where the game was won. But we could have drawn the game as well. Rafa Leão made a good impression coming in off the bench. I think he's an interesting solution for Jesus to work on from now onwards. We'll probably get onto that a little bit more later. But he also had a really good chance at the end, which I think he was a little bit unlucky. Obviously, 9 times out of 10, you're expecting someone to put that chance away. But when I was looking at the replays, I thought, he gets perfect power on it, and he just lacks the direction by a little bit to go over the crossbar. Obviously, there's the Brian Ruiz goal scoring opportunity, the Montero one, and a good chance in the first half from Doumbia. So when you look at those chances, I think as a sporting fan, I certainly feel like we could have gotten the draw. But the game was there to be won for any of the team that took their chances, and Porto did at the end. So that leaves Sporting 8 points behind now. I wouldn't consider it completely over. We are more or less out of the title race, but I like us to focus on second at least. Battle with Benfica until the very end, and hopefully that competitiveness inside Sporting will drive us right through to the end of the season. And who knows what happens in Porto's games and what situation we find ourselves in. Sporting has just got to keep going.
So I'm just going to say, you don't expect Porto to lose 3 games and tie 1, do you? Because that's what it takes for Sporting to become champions.
Well, it's 8 points.
And they would have to win every game.
9. Yeah, it's 9
footy.
points.
It can happen.
It's 9 points. It's 9 points. So
we stay alert. That's it's as simple as that. Sporting have got no option anyway but to keep on winning those games, because Braga are behind us, and we certainly want to finish above Benfica at the very least in a big 3 race. Everyone wants to be champions. No one wants to finish third. So we've got that on our plate still, and we've just got to keep going out there every game and make sure we win it. Yeah,
but you might be mathematically in the race, but technically out of the race, because I just don't see Porto dropping points. 9 points. Not 9, 10. It'd have to be 10 points, because you guys are 8 points behind, yes, but technically it's 9 because they would need to drop 9 points because you guys are...
Yeah, just 9 points.
Yeah, 9 points, but 9 points is a lot for a team that has
it's a
dropped,
lot.
I don't even know if they dropped 9 points in the first half of the season.
That's what I'm saying. It's not likely. As I said, we're more or less out of the title race, but the only thing we can hope for is just that we keep going, that Benfica do a job there, and somehow 2 other teams along the line, which...
Estoril!
Somewhere along the line, someone does something. But it's a praying game for us at the moment, but there's nothing else we can do, really.
Mm-hmm. That's true. All right, Bruno, take it away, buddy.
Oh, God, is everybody ready?
What's your problem?
I'm going to be.
She's so
Cece has no
she's
problem.
the hostile one.
But everybody
She likes to
loves me.
instigate.
No one loves you, Bruno. I'm sorry, that sounded really mean. Don't go home and cry.
I'm already home.
He's already home, so
Okay, well, don't go
Exactly.
cry.
It'll take me more than that to cry. Trust me.
All right, good.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
I cry tears of joy. For example, when I see you guys lose.
Oh, so that 5-0, you must have been crying tears of sadness, yes?
No, I didn't cry. I didn't cry for that one. How'd you feel about when you got 5-0 from Powerhouse Basel?
I hid in my kitchen and I cooked some basil.
There you go. How did you feel about being the only team in European play
shut
out
up.
of 80
How do you
clubs
feel for the last 4 years?
having 0
I can't
points?
hear you over the tetra. Shut up.
Francisco,
The treta,
Tell me about
yes,
the
the treta,
games.
yes. The treta.
I can't hear you
All
over
right,
the tetra. Shut your face.
the treta, that's what you're talking about. That's what you mean, the treta.
Now I sound like my little girl. Black guy?
Well, I mean, I thought that in reality this was the best Classico of the season. I thought it was very well played by both clubs. It was very intense. A lot of scoring chances for both sides. I'm pretty sure that the average fan would have wanted more goals. I thought Porto was stronger in the first half. Sporting was stronger in the second half. Sporting came out, definitely needing to win the game to stay alive in the title race, and I still think that they still are. I don't know how they're going to recover 9 points. That's going to be tough. I don't see Porto dropping 9 points, but anything is possible, especially.
I mean, Bruno, I'm sorry to cut you off, but even a lot of people, and I know not you because you're actually realistic and smart, but even a lot of Porto fans are already saying that they won the league with this game.
No,
but Sporting,
because
I feel like they're because even a lot of people are saying that it's going to be hard for Porto to drop 5 points. I mean, I would say much less 9. It would be
no, 5 points is very possible because
yeah.
Collapse. But you remember, Porto has 3 tough away games still on their schedule. They have at Belenenses, who traditionally is very difficult for Porto. They always play us very difficult. We have to go to Estádio da Luz, and then we have to go to Marítimo,
And
which is one of
at the last game of the season.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna disrespect Guimarães. I just think that Guimarães has just gone through. They're going through a lot of turmoil right now. Obviously, that's still a couple of months from now. A lot can change from now until then. Do I think that could happen? Very possible, but I'm not as scared of Guimarães as I am maybe of a motivated Marítimo or a motivated Belenenses, especially if they're still struggling. Belenenses struggling to stay alive in the first division, and the other one trying to compete for the second division. I'm sorry, second division. Europa League. League. But I think that I think overall in this game, I thought Porto played very well. I thought their defense was pretty good. They didn't give a lot of space behind them, as much as maybe Rafael Leão would have liked. I thought Rafael Leão played very well. Casillas played well. He had a very good stop on Montero. And let's be all honest now. Let's put it out there that Montero is simply not a Primera Liga and a big 3 player. He might be useful for other clubs.
Goalie though, didn't he?
I'm sorry?
Walked away from your goalie though, didn't he?
No,
he was salty.
Bottle walked away. Bye.
Yeah, well, he got stonewalled. So I mean, it is what it is. Our midfield was the one that I thought had the most trouble. Herrera fouled a lot. I'm surprised he didn't get red carded. To be honest with you, I don't know how he finished this game. Sergio Oliveira played. I know a lot of Portistas. Well. I'm sorry.
What were you talking about? Sorry, I also got lost. Were you talking about Herrera?
Yeah, Herrera. I was surprised how he didn't finish how he finished the game. Yeah. He probably didn't. He probably deserves to get dropped. out of the game. Sergio Oliveira, I thought, in my opinion, tactically, I think he played well. Tactically, I mean, was he most practical? Sometimes no. I thought tactically he did a nice job, defensively in particular, and try to transition. Otavio did a nice job in frustrating Sporting, um, but he another one that wasn't very practical. The two guys that were giving a lot of trouble to Sporting were Brahimi and Marega. Marega was Quintrone's daddy, and and Brahimi,
Oh my god!
he he really
Yes.
attacked it.
What? It's just a kid that he said that Marega was Quintro's daddy. So I'm surprised nobody else laughed. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm laughing at that. I was like, what
Okay.
the hell?
He owned him. He owned him.
Well,
Quintron.
he didn't protect.
That was a guy that actually. I was really surprised that Marega. I mean, Quintron wasn't sent off with the amount of fouls that he was.
He's a freaking patata man.
He was. Yeah, but well, regardless of what happened with that whole thing, the scuffle on the outside, it was more of like what he was doing during the game. I mean, he was constantly grabbing and fouling Marega. I mean, Marega should have, he was blown by him like he was not even there. And Brahimi against Ristovski, I thought he had a lot of success, especially going inside and then out and outside and in. I mean, he had Ristovski having a lot of trouble to the point that Kovleda took him off to try to figure something else out because Brahimi was really having a lot of success on that side. And another guy that I have to say that had a very good tactical game was Paciencia. I think the tactic was great. They brought in a guy that can hold on the ball, win those duels with the two center backs, and then him quickly making the opposite switch to the wings where the wingers could use their speed and run onto the ball. And it's in particular to Marega. I mean, I think Marega had that one opportunity in the first half that he should have buried. Once again, Marega against the big clubs always seems to miss. I think overall, I mean, the probably the most just result would have been a tie. The key word in this game is without question efficiency. Porto was more efficient. They won the 3 points. They put Sporting in a very super delicate situation. One more hiccup and they're done. I mean, they have to hope for Porto to drop 9 points, and they still have to win all their games. And Sporting has a lot of difficult games left on their schedules.
Can I just say something that I thought was stupid, but I said you're gonna say something, and I thought it was stupid at the time, and I still think it's stupid now. I thought that taking off Gonçalo Paciência instead of Marega was stupid because obviously now on hindsight everybody can say that he got hurt so he should have taken him off. No, like me and my dad were talking during the game, and as soon as we all saw Boubacar come in, I think it was Boubacar, right? We were saying that Marega is going to get subbed off, and he stayed in the game. And I thought that it was kind of stupid of him. It makes sense because Marega is a good player, but Gonçalo didn't have a lot of minutes, right? So he was still obviously in better physical condition than Marega would be, and it would be interesting to try and apply a different style of play into Porto, especially because Abubakar is a very physical and fast guy too, right? So I felt that substitution. Obviously, in hindsight, some people are gonna disagree with it, but I disagreed with it at the moment that it happened, and now that Marega is hurt, it makes even more sense to criticize it.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, but let's look at the reality of what the game was going on. Quintron was already gassed, and Marega was just absolutely owning him on that side. So why are you going to stop something that's being very successful? I mean, Marega was just completely torching that side. I mean, he had no answer. Marega was
you can do that with
he
Abubakar,
just kept creating space.
Gonçalo. You just need somebody faster
but
than Quintron.
You're
it's
taking
not hard
that.
to find somebody
Remember,
faster than Quintron. I mean, don't forget that Gonçalo is the one that makes the pass to inside the box to Brahimi on the second goal. So he was the one that was actually playing outside at that point.
Yeah, but hold on a second. The lineup that you're talking about with Marega and Paciencia, now you're playing in a 4-4-2. and Porto was playing in a 4-3-3 in the first half,
Porto
and
always
up
played a
until
4-4-2. Always. They always
no, they
play a
never did.
4-4-2.
They never did.
They never
Not
play 4-3-3. No. It goes off what you're thinking at the moment, but Porto's
no.
lineup is a
I'm gonna argue
4-4-2.
with you.
And I think
I'm gonna argue with you.
okay.
No,
Someone here is incorrect. Who's incorrect?
I got
I'm gonna.
Patrick with me.
If you're playing with two strikers, Marega would not be caught all the way on the outside most of the time, like he was.
But that's
And
how
Brahimi
Porto
was pushed up on the right back most of the time. So right there is 4-3-3.
Listen to Patrick though.
It was from my point of view, I thought it was actually a very versatile shape. It actually, to me, it looked like it started in a 4-4-2. So Marega and Paciencia at the top, with Otavio wider of the midfield. But as Marega makes that movement from the inside onto the wing, just behind Coentrão for that ball over the top or through the gaps, that's when Otavio tucks in. So imagine, as soon as the ball hits the final third, that's Porto playing a 4-3-3. When they're retreating, it's a 4-4-2. Marega was always there, ready to look on the shoulder of the defence and trying to, make those darting runs onto the flank. So I've never seen Porto play that way. I'm not sure. I don't think they have this season. But I thought it was. I'll give Conceição some credit if that was his intention. So I think it was actually a mixture of both.
So there you go. I think Porto defend on a 4-4-2. I don't think anybody disagrees with that one, at least. Because that's what I see from them defensively. I don't know if Bruno wants to disagree with that, but
I'm going to disagree because
we can talk on defense. On defense,
I'm going to disagree. Hold on, I'm going to disagree with you because Otavio was never really on the outside. He was more caught into the middle. If he's more into the middle, obviously they're playing with three midfielders.
But you saw plenty of times. Marega right next to Gonçalo Paciencia on the first line of defense, right? When you don't have the ball, Porto.
When you're defending, because Porto plays high press, but so was Brahimi. Brahimi was high pressed.
Because the interesting thing about Otavio was that I saw him on the outside, but he's not on the outside like a traditional right mid. He was like, he stayed back. So
he was a winger. He was a winger to me, he was playing a winger position, but he was cutting to the inside. That's where, because they were opening space for Maxi to come from the backside to push up. If you watch closely, that's what was going on. Marega going into the inside on Coentrão couldn't stop him other than just fouling him because he was overpowering him. He wanted to get him the ball into space and then cut into the inside, and he was done. Coentrão was just finished. Coentrão was like huffing and puffing. He's got to get like all those cigarettes.
And his hair dye.
You like that hair dye. Stop it. When he was on Benfica, you wanted to dye his hair. Stop.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. I've never liked Coentrão. When he was on Benfica, I thought he was a little bitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You don't know me. Also, myself and Ugu agree with Pat, so you're wrong. You're incorrect.
Well, I could care less with Hugo. He's a liar. He lies with all his teeth in his mouth.
Whoa. That's gonna be awesome next week.
Ugu, we're extending the invitation, man. It could just be you. It's just we're not even gonna do Tiki Taka. We're just gonna do Bruno versus Ugu.
Special episode.
Exactly.
That guy was talking blasphemy right now.
Blasphemy.
No, he's not. You'll see. He can fight you at your own game. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the ref. I honestly don't know what the Brahimi play she's talking about, so I'm just gonna stay away from that one. But let's talk about the Doumbia play. Right, so I know what Bruno's gonna say. So first, let's run through Patrick and Cynthia and then me, and then we'll let Bruno rebuttal because we all know what he's gonna say. So, Patrick, on that Doumbia play, do you think that he gets brought down by, I believe, Marcano? I think it's Marcano.
No, after all these days, I'm still I'm still not sure as to if I was a referee. I'm not sure what I'd give because I think it's a incident that's like very open to interpretation and the opinion. Obviously, I think the contact's there.
Bruno, stop breathing into your mic. Sorry, Patrick, but Bruno's really breathing into his mic.
That's right.
It's hard to hear you. Like, Jesus Christ.
You're such a hater.
I had to.
He really
I'm
is.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Bruno. I'm sorry, Patrick.
It's my cat, by the way.
Okay,
Yeah,
tell your
sure.
cat to stop freaking breathing into the microphone. That would be awesome.
It's my cat, huevón.
Is he named Coentrão?
Sorry about that, Pat.
Anyway, obviously, the contact from the law comes from left to right, from where Dumbia is facing, and I think what doesn't do Dumbia any favour is that he moves with that contact. So if Dumbia had gone left, like goalwards with the ball, then I think general interpretation would be 99.9% that's a penalty. But I think it's the movement that Dumbia makes with the ball. He's obviously chasing the ball and it's going with the law tackle, which makes it look to me look a bit dubious. And we enter that field where we think when is contact. When does contact actually equal a penalty, and when does it merit going down? That's the sort of territory I think we start to go into. I must confess, I'm not sure whether it was a penalty or not.
Okay, fair enough. Cynthia, do you think that you think that's a penalty, right?
I do, but if the Sportingista wants to say maybe not a penalty, then it's still a falta.
All right, so that was fast.
Yeah, no, it's a falta. Buddy, your leg is on top of my leg. It's a falta. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
I just think with a tackle coming in from the law, I just think that part of me thinks Dumbia could have still like stayed up and probably even had a shot at goal or something like that. Obviously, if he does, as I said, if he does the opposite and takes the ball from right to left against the tackle, then contact will be made with the law, and Dumbia can go down quite easily and get himself a penalty. Doing the opposite, I'm not sure.
Right, but if you're,
it doesn't look great to me.
If you're right-footed, you're not going to push the ball into the middle, right? You want it to go outside so you can shoot.
Yeah,
right?
But for example,
I think he did the right movement though. Like I don't.
Yeah, but he's going away from goal. You know what I mean? Obviously controlling the ball is there's an element of chance to it, and Dumbia went with that chance. In another situation, if that ball is a lot more straight for him to run onto and smash a shot across goal, and that tackle comes in, like idyllically, that would be a penalty. But the fact that it goes away and the tackle comes with the movement of the ball and the general situation, I just don't think it's the ideal picture of a point blank penalty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit off.
Falta?
Mm-hmm.
No falta then? Would you give him a fault instead of a penalty? Just give him the free kick there?
So
there's no such thing.
Yeah, exactly. Then? What do you want about?
But it's interesting because, like, for example, if that was to happen, and again, this is what I say: we enter this like weird grey area. Whereas if that foul happens outside the box, I think the referee probably blows up and gives a free kick for that. Inside the box, you start to streamline your what you blow up for, and I think probably that sort of fell into the category. But then again, looking back at all the reviews and like from the newspapers and TV panels and all that, everyone seems most of the commentators, pundits, journalists, they all seem to agree that it's a penalty. So,
Bruno, before you answer whether or not you think it is, if that was a Portista being taken down, would you want a penalty?
No, because it's not a penalty. And I said that before, and there's a lot of people that said I used this on the 3-2 Gush podcast before. This comparison. There was a foul in the Porto Benfica game in which Jardel impedes Marega from advancing. And I said that wasn't a penalty. And there's a lot of people that said that was a penalty. I don't say it's a penalty. Does Jardel cut the ball? No, he doesn't even touch the ball. Does he prevent? Is there contact with the Marega? It's a contact sport. It's not a penalty, in my opinion, in that play. And I'm going to go with the same thing here. It's not a penalty because, yeah, there's contact. But if I'm a Sportingista, and I've talked to a lot of Sportingistas already, they're more pissed off that the guy didn't take a shot inside the 6 than going for the dive.
I don't think he dove.
That's what I got to say about that.
And honestly, Patrick, there's one thing that we need to think, and it's something that needs to change because you're right about this gray area. But to me, something is extremely clear. If it's a foul anywhere on the pitch, that's not, a penalty. If it happens inside the box, it's still a penalty. Because if you call that in the midfield, if you call that in the final third, if you call that in your own area or whatever, you still have to call it on the opponent's area, right? So I honestly think that we need to kind of dial that down. And if you call that anywhere else on the field, then you have to call it a penalty too. So, and I'm not just talking about this specific case because we've seen other calls, right, not being made because they just happen inside the box. But everybody uses the same argument. Oh, if it was outside the box, you would have called it. Then you should have called it anyway. But I honestly think it's a penalty. But it's what I said to Bruno, and I've been saying to everyone. It's not one that I'm going to, say that it's blatant robbery or whatever. It's whatever. I think even with the VAR, after he reviewed the play himself, I think it made total sense to call it a penalty because I believe it's a penalty. But honestly, it's whatever. It passed like 2 minutes after that. The freaking play moved on, and it is what it is. And Sporting had their chances and they didn't take it. And it's not because of this play. I don't know. It was like 20 minutes in or something that they didn't win the game. So
I mean, it's very borderline to me, and the whole. I obviously spoke a lot about it being not a penalty, but I must reiterate, I'm undecided on the whole aspect of it. I think it's a very borderline and contentious situation.
Right, which is why I'm not killing Bruno for not thinking it's a penalty. But my opinion stands that it is a penalty. But it's not one of those where, it's not one of those where you're going to be saying that, oh my God, how did he not call it? It's perfectly clear, right? It's one of those. So I do understand your point of view, and I understand everybody's point of view. As for the other play that Cynthia's talking about, I honestly don't remember it. I don't know if you guys want to bring it up because I don't know.
There was a situation before Leon's goal, wasn't it, that Porto claimed Brahimi was fouled on?
Yeah, I think Brahimi dove.
But to me, again, play on. I don't think any foul existed there.
So, Cynthia, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So, Cynthia, you saying that there was contact in the penalty spot, in the box, so that should be a penalty. But now you're going to say that there's contact in this one.
Don't be doing that shit. You don't get to say my words. So, Sporting Lake,
you gotta keep it consistent.
Yes, we do, don't we? I always talk about consistency. Don't you start with me, Bruno. So, the Sporting leg, there is an image. The Porto leg is in front of the Sporting leg on his foot. That's contact. You're now knocking him over. Yes, you say it's a contact sport, but you're now tripping this kid. I don't give a shit which direction he's going.
Tripping or pushing?
He's also pushing on his upper body, but he's tripping with the legs. So he's doing both. You want both? But now we go over to Brahimi. The guy gets the ball, and Brahimi then falls down. He does that bullshit dive. No. Yes, he
got pushed. So this is what I'm going to tell you.
What are you going to tell me, buddy?
It's not a foul. Keep it moving.
Well, it's your Brahimi who fell down and then looked all indignant sitting there. Oh, hands up.
Well, what else is he going to do? What else is he going to do?
All right. So just one more question. Do we think, because I personally think that he should have been yellow carded, but do we think that that Marega should have been yellow carded for flopping inside of the box.
Always.
Yeah,
They have to
dive is
cut
a
that
dive.
shit out.
I thought he was a blatant dive. I didn't think there was the contact, but I think he definitely dove, and it's one of those where I think you got to give the yellow. I don't know if Bruno wants to weigh in on it.
No, I wouldn't give a yellow card for that. I've seen way worse.
Oh my
Okay.
God, Bruno! If
I
you were
think
the
he
ref,
flopped,
they would have like
totally.
fist fights. Jesus.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I mean, it's
play
gotta be-
on, walk it off.
he totally
gotta-
flopped
yeah.
it.
You gotta listen. We just saw today's game. Juventus and Tottenham. Bro, the guy. There's arguments that the guy got tripped. There's argument. Is it enough? No, it's not enough to bring him down. That's not a clear-cut penalty. Just because there's some contact doesn't mean that there's a clear-cut penalty. It's a contact sport. You gotta deal with the fact that maybe that not every time you fall in the box is a foul. There's contact, but it's not enough to bring him down. There wasn't enough to bring him down Dubia. There wasn't enough to bring down Brahimi. So you got to keep it moving. That's it. We got to stop with. We got to stop with the whole.
Bruno with that one, eh, guys? Not every contact is a penalty. So Sporting stop asking for it. Porto stop asking for it. Benfica stop asking for it.
Well,
Yeah, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. And right now, in this particular case, neither one has the right to say, "Oh yeah, it was a foul," or "Yeah, it was a penalty." No, and none of it was a foul. It's a contact sport. Both of them were playing hard. They didn't get the calls because it wasn't a foul. And people just got to get over it. Yes, I know. Benfica fans really wanted Porto to lose. They really wanted to close in the gap.
Like, stop saying Benfica fans. I'm a Benfica fan. I wanted a tie.
Most
wanted a
Benfica
loss.
fans.
There you go.
Well, see, most of them wanted a loss, but at the end of the day, they didn't get it. Now they got to deal with.
But I'm not.
Oh
but
man,
I'm not
I got to
out
figure
here.
it.
But listen, brother. But I'm not out of here trying to make excuses. Which what I told you when we were off, and I'll say it again, was that Sporting didn't take their chances. We were just discussing a play that happened in the game, but I did say it. When we were discussing the penalty, that it's not why Sporting lost. So I'm not here trying to create this whole polvo or whatever. It was because of that call that Porto won the game. It's not what I'm saying.
No,
So,
I mean, I never said that. I never said it was you. I mean, I'm basing this by what I've heard in the comments, on the air, off the air,
You got some big
podcast. No, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, and it goes through social media and stuff. There's a lot of people that were complaining about it. Listen, it's not a penalty. It's not a foul. It was 2 games. One scored more than the other. One was more efficient than the other. Both teams had opportunities to score. They didn't score. One scored more than the other one. You got to deal with it. That's it. One's in good form. The other one's not in good form. One should have lost points 2 weeks ago at Tondela. The other one didn't. And that's how you got to deal with it. It's just that simple.
All right. Well, let's then just quickly move on to Liverpool, unless you guys have anything else to say, and then we can talk about the final beat, which would be the news of the. By the way, Paulo Gonçalves just left in freedom, so he was let go. Just wanted to update you.
Hooray!
Yeah. Anyway,
I wasn't worried about him.
Anyway,
I have real life to worry
so just really quickly on the Liverpool game, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but it was a game where everything was decided. Porto had a couple of chances. I think Casillas bailed Porto out a couple of times. I think he was key for them to not lose that game. But I don't know, Bruno. You can talk a little bit about it because it's your team and it's worth talking about.
I mean, I watched the game. I mean, Porto or Sérgio Conceição came out with a team that was basically a lot of backups and a lot of underutilized players, in which I agreed with 100%. You wanted to get some guys on the field that haven't played much. Casillas, I think I don't know if he set a record or he's getting closer to a record or something like that, but whatever. He did something along those lines. Back line, what a difference Philippe makes. Let's put it this way. If Porto was at full strength, it definitely would have been 5-0. Philippe made probably one of his better games, or had one of his better games of the season, um, if not the best. He had a really good, strong game. Maxi Pereira has no business being on the field or in a Porto jersey. Um, Left back Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot had his eye opening experience at a Champions League level. He got beat a couple of times. He played well here and there. He wasn't very consistent, but this was a growing pains type of game. We had Oliver Andre getting a good quality minutes. We saw the debut of Brun Costa. I know a lot of Portistas were not happy about him playing. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, they should have played in a cup or should have played in a league game or something. Listen, you got to throw in the kid. You got to see what he's worth. You can throw him right into the Wolves. Did he do terrible? No. Did he have a superb, fantastic game where, he's going to be making front covers of the newspapers? No. He just had a game in which he just did what he did best, and that's it. Other than that, Boubacar got some minutes. Ricard Pereira came back, got some minutes. So we're covering some guys and from injury and getting some minutes on them. And I think at the end of the day, 0-0 was a justified result. Porto had chances. Liverpool had maybe one or two more. And the end of that was really it. There was really not much more to say. It was a very low key, a little above training session rhythm type of game. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So before we forget, I think we could just get quickly to a question that we had. That goes right to Patrick here. I answered it, but obviously you want the Sportingista to weigh in on this too.
Yep.
Unless I think nobody else watched the game, right? Nobody else watched the Liverpool game, right?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to double check that. But anyway, so Miguel asked you, Patrick, a question. He asked if you think that Leon can become an important asset for Sporting in the last few games for the fight for second place, and what's his role in the squad with a fit with Bas Dost, and what can he bring that the others can't?
Well, I certainly think he can be can grow in involvement in the team. Obviously, Jesus is making all the right noises when he talks about him in the press conferences, and that makes a big difference to me. I think he said a lot of the same stuff when Gelson was coming through. So that to me is an eye opener, and certainly it's encouraging to see him come in and do so well. With Dost around, there's obviously the potential that he could play next to Dost, since Dumbia and Montero are two players that either haven't done very well in that second striker role, or simply aren't of the requisite to play in that position. So perhaps Rafael, he's someone who's strong, who's quick, he's got good trickery. He could offer something perhaps a little similar to what Bodens was given when he was impressing in that position. So yeah, the potential's there, and there'll certainly be games where Jesus will rotate a few players, combining the workload with the Europa League. I think he can come in and play a few games down the middle at striker, but I don't think he'll just play at striker. I think there'll be times where he'll play on the wing as well. Sporting aren't a team blessed with a great deal of pace, so his pace alone is useful on the wings, and also he's a player who likes to take people on. So since he's such a young player and he will make mistakes, preferably, and here I can see why Jesus started him off on the wing. Preferably, you want a young player like that to look for the space and operate in areas where perhaps he can make an error or two, or make one or two bad judgments and learn from it. Obviously, by the end of it, it will help him a little bit with his decision making going forward. So I expect him to play a few games. Sometimes he'll be on the bench. He might make a surprise start in other games too. And he's a useful player to add, both on the wings and up front.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I also wanted to just to reply here to Tiago because we discussed this. I think it was either last week or in 2 weeks ago. But we are grasping the gravity of the coefficient situation. I just want him to understand that we do know
But he made
that
good
we
points
have.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that Russia will overcome us the next season, and and that our second place team would have to play two playoffs to get into the Champions League, and that the Turkish and the Ukrainians are our ass, and but we know about that. But what we discuss here on the podcast, and I believe it's consensual, is that it's not the big three having a bad year. It's the fact that everybody else that gets in there is a one and done in the playoffs against teams that they should beat. We're talking about teams, from Denmark or Sweden or Norway, or even Austria. That those are certain teams that we know that our teams are better than them, but for some reason or another, they really can't make it through that playoff. And I think those teams not making past the playoffs and into the group stage is what hurts more. It's what hurts Portugal coefficient more than Benfica getting knocked out of the Champions League, or Porto getting knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. You know, uh, I don't know if you guys also want to weigh in on this, but I thought that was the general consensus that we got from discussing this.
The coefficient wise,
Silence. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I keep on saying it. It's not just the big three. We can't have other clubs in Portugal going to Europa League and then they're getting knocked out before even the group stage, because you get
Yeah,
knocked out
yeah,
of the group.
that's
You get
yeah.
knocked out of the group stage. The points that the big three accumulate get divided up with those teams. So right now, Sporting is the only team left, and I think there were six teams in European play. The 3 points that he get divided up by the six teams. I mean, you're basically it's almost nothing. Um, every time we got to hope that Port Sporting and Benfica go pretty far in European play to compensate for the other two or three teams that do poorly. I mean, Guimarães didn't do that bad. Braga did okay, but at the end of the day, I mean, Braga should be a team that should be at least in the round of 32 every year in Europa League. Guimarães should be a team or any other team in the Portuguese league should be advancing to the round of 32. But no, we have these teams that they play two games and then they're ousted. Why? Because they don't know how to plan. Their team is not even developed yet, and they're already playing European games before they even qualify for a group stage, and they're waiting on Port Sporting and Benfica to send them their cuts. Whatever guys that they're not going to be able to use for their season, they're hoping that they get a loan. You can't do that. You gotta perform, and you gotta prepare your team much better and much earlier.
All right. So I don't know. Patrick wants to say anything about this.
Well, it's a little bit of what I said last week, and that obviously you got your three main clubs in Porto, Sporting, and Benfica, and there'll be years when certain teams go beyond group stage, and there'll be other years where they'll crash out or fall into the Europa League. I think we're just at that stage where obviously you're not truly expecting, for example, Porto to go up against Man City of this world or whoever they may find in the group stage and beat them. And these situations will arise for the big teams. That's the reality of the Champions League. But that's not just the Portuguese teams. It can happen to anyone from Zenit to Galatasaray and beyond that. These teams will find it just as difficult. That I think it's normal that the coefficients down outside the top 4 or 5 divisions, it's normal that it's tight. On the smaller teams, obviously, there's a problem there. I think, irrespective of their quality, I do think some teams suffer a bit of a culture shock. So when the way they like to play and the way that Portuguese football is played is very different when you enter the European stage. And I think a lot of teams struggle to adapt to that for one reason or another. And perhaps a few teams need to reevaluate the way they operate, the way they set up and play their football. Not just for better viewing and whatnot, but also to better their game and match up against other teams when they go into the Europa League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I think it's consensual. Cynthia, you want to weigh in?
No, man, you guys covered everything. I think the only funny thing that I found from Tiago's comment was that the Turks and Ukrainians are on our asses, and I see the way my Twitter blows up with Turkish fans against Portuguese fans now. Can you imagine if this happens? So that's going to be super fun.
I hate Turkish fans. They're the worst.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Come to
know.
Besiktas.
I hate them all. They're ugh. Ugh.
So it's going to be awesome when they can say that they're better than us, according to the coefficient.
Yeah, and then Fenerbahce can lose to Benfica again, and we go to the final, and they stay at home. Anyway, so on to the final, topic of today's episode, and we gotta be, relatively quick. I think it's mostly something that me and Bruno are gonna harp on for a little bit, but we discussed this off, so I don't know if there's too much to be said. But I'll try and be as quick as I can, and also be concise in my opinion. And is that we had all these investigations going on, and a couple people got arrested. But like I said just now, that Paul Gonçalves got already released. He was let go.
He's on house arrest, by the way.
Okay, yeah. So he was, but all right. From what I gathered is that when people are saying that somebody let themselves be corrupted by tickets to a game or jerseys is baffling to me. I don't think anyone, and obviously everyone's gonna say we're not all the same, and we're not. But I don't think that I think that 99.9% of people wouldn't sell out a great job with extreme financial security to be corrupted by tickets or jerseys. Obviously,
just one jersey.
Yeah.
Fuck no! I need a whole wardrobe.
Obviously, if there's something more to it, like we know one case where there's somebody was employed apparently at the Museo of Benfica. If we find out more cases like that, then we might be onto something. But if you're telling me that they're simply offering tickets and jerseys and they let themselves be corrupted, then we're in a very weird world, because I don't think anybody with good financial security would do that. And another thing that I also think that's worth pointing out is that supposedly what was being leaked to Benfica right now, I don't see anything that could be used with malice, because one of the things that they were bringing up was that they were releasing information about where people, higher ups would like to be seated at the luge. And I honestly cannot put a finger if you're trying to where you're trying to place people. Like they can't be all in the same spot, and if you can give them preferential treatment of where they want to sit, I don't really see an issue with this. And again, seating someone in the right place is not enough to something to be with corruption. So if we delve into this and we find a lot more, then I'll start talking about it. But for now, I think it's something that it feels rather flat, and we'd need much more to try and make this something bigger, because right now at this point with the information that we have, I don't think it's big enough. And I also just want to point out before I let Bruno go on is that I also was talking about the grade, and although Mark Ferreira did get his grade reduced, I remember in that game specifically that Talisca got kicked to the face, and there wasn't even a foul, not a red, nothing. So I think Benfica did an exposure to certain plays as to why his grade should be reduced, and they got that to go through. If you think that that's corruption, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. but that was also one of the cases that people were bringing up. But I mean, I think that's just a natural case of a very bad game by what I consider an actual decent referee. But you know, that's my opinion on this right now. And I did waste a little bit of time, on CMTV and all those guys trying to gather this information. And I think this is what's the queerest I've gone is that's my opinion on it right now. So Bruno.
I mean, right now he got, like I said, he got released, but he's in house arrest. He is not allowed to contact anyone from Benfica. He is not allowed to go to Stade de Luz or any type of Benfica property. So he's a guy that has to be on the outside looking in. He was brought to court today. He, as a lawyer, you would think he would be able to defend himself. He said nothing. Quem cala consent. So, I think at the end of the day, we have to still sit around and wait and see what happens with this whole situation. I think it's going to be this is just the start of it. I mean, Peter talked about the tickets and jerseys. I think there's way more to it. There's a lot of favors that were involved. There was a lot of this. There was a lot of that that we still don't know about. Now reports are talking about some special person in that was a key informant to him called Maria José Morgado. And if you guys don't know, or if people are distracted or live under a rock about Maria José Morgado was the number one in charge person in the Pitorado case. It's funny how she's leaking information to Benfica. And remember how the whole Pitorado case all went about, that it was basically targeting two clubs. And then all of a sudden, when there was wiretaps with Orelhas and company, all of a sudden they wanted to end the whole process. So there's a lot of information. There's a lot of things that we don't know about. The Pitorado was one of those, one of the biggest jokes you can talk about in Portuguese soccer history. There's a lot of coincidences that has to do with the Pitorado. And now we're starting to see a lot of people being linked to Benfica that were involved back then. They're involved now with a lot of this corruption. So we'll now have to wait and see what happens, what the courts say. There's going to be more investigations. Remember that he's going to be indicted. He's indicted on a lot of different things. This one particular case has nothing to do with just the fact that he was receiving information from someone inside the Polícia Judiciária. So there was a mole. We have to figure, and the mole has been arrested. I think his name is José Silva, right, Peter?
But I didn't hear names. Sorry, so I don't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
I believe his name is José Silva. He has already been fired, and he's already been arrested. So he's already one. And then there's one other person that also has been arrested. Now we're gonna wait and see, and we're gonna see what's gonna transpire, because he didn't talk in court. He was obviously interrogated. Did he say anything? Did he call somebody out? Did he sing? Did he not sing? Time will tell.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Obviously, the producers are gonna be hoping that all this is true. The Benfica will be hoping that this is fake. But at the end of the day, we need to wait for more information, I think, for us to actually talk about something that at this point is segredo de justiça, right? So there's a lot of things that are hidden from us, and we're just getting whatever leaks out or whatever we know happens, like the arrest. Still, that's something public that everybody knows and can see. So But we need to wait for more, I think. I don't know if Patrick is a little bit into this subject. I don't know if you want to weigh in on this or if you want to pass. I don't know, Patrick.
Well, I could talk a bit about it. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, and which is baffling because there's so much stuff out there at the moment. It's so hard to keep track. But within what we can see, obviously, me as a sporting fan or just a footballing fan in general, it's the stuff that's in the emails is obviously something that requires answers because there's a lot of as Bruno said, there's a lot of favors and weird language which perhaps in certain circumstances could be seen as codes, and like there's a whole host of weird stuff from witch doctors and all that sort of stuff. All that stuff needs to be clarified, and obviously when you look at Portuguese football as a whole, it has such a deep connection to one club or another, constantly trying to cheat the system, and we've got that mentality deep within us that any sort of situation, whether it's genuine or simply reactionary, we're calling the same card and saying this or that person was bought. And I think what that stems down to, I think historically, I don't think Portuguese football has ever been able to put a cap on this sort of situation, and the longer it goes on, the worse it gets on all aspects. People will it will take decades and decades for this mentality to go away, and perhaps behind us all there'll be people that will continue to think that they can get away with such actions if they exist. So it's a tricky situation. Obviously, it's difficult for me to say because I don't want to end up in jail for being libelous or anything like that. But yeah, obviously, from what the general public has seen, and this doesn't just go for Sporting or Porto fans. I think Benfica fans deserve some clarification too. There's obviously lots of things that need to be explained, and this all needs to be ironed out and dealt with properly. So, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, Cynthia, you want to say anything? Sorry, I left you for last again.
That's okay. I'm fine with that. You guys have beat the horse to death, but unfortunately, we don't have enough information. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this feels like a really shitty telenovela. It's amazing to me. All we're missing is the close-ups of the eyes and the music.
Yeah, just that's a terrible all we're missing. Soap opera.
It's the worst telenovela, and I can't wait for it to be over.
Well, I was just
but as
thinking,
a fan, oh, sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
I was just thinking if this was a movie, I'd probably definitely watch it.
If it was like a spy movie, but for me, it kind of looks like a crime drama, and I'm like, oh god, this is so boring. And the worst part right now is that we don't have enough info, so this is just gossips, and I don't watch Gossip Girl, so I don't care for this. And but as a Benfiquista fan, I could tell you right now, any of these pricks, if any of them have been ruining part of the club just because they're doing stupid shit, get them the hell out of there. I pay my socio, and I'm a crazy adept, and I know a lot of crazy fans. We don't want that type of shit with our club. I don't care. We won the Tetra. We want it clean to us. You know what I mean? Salvio put his heart on the field. Nico Gaitan put his heart on the field. That's how we feel about our guys. All of them. And now you're going to turn around and say, no, it was bought. Fuck that shit, man. You know what I mean? Don't put that near my team. Don't put that near my club, So that's how I feel as a fan. But otherwise, it's shitty TV.
Cynthia, I have to mention something because you guys put in the chat about his name is Hugo, right?
Oh, yeah, Ugu. He's going to come on next week with you.
And you were saying there were 0 titles in 4 years for us? Hey, buddy, I just want to let you know. You might be saying goodbye to those 4 titles that you won and many, many other cups.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys with the Apiturado?
No, they didn't lose shit, and then apparently they got it. And
then they got money back, right?
Recently they even got the points back to them.
And same thing with Boavista, right? Bring them all back. It was a mistake. Sorry.
Yeah.
Boavista
So
is
I mean,
owed 40 million euros by the league, and
As
they have
they
never
should
seen
be.
a dime.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I
Okay,
So,
keep
now,
seeing
but
the fans with the sign "Justice for Boavista." I'm like, I'm with you guys.
well, I mean, listen, again, I'll reiterate, but the whole everyone likes to talk about the Pitorado, but they don't know all the facts.
Hmm.
We have to remember who led the charge with the Pitorado, which Maria José Morgado. Who was Maria José Morgado married to? Well, Maria José Morgado was married to someone called Saldanha Sanches, who is now passed. Saldanha Sanches, who is he? Well, he's the number one guy. He's the number one socio of Orelhas in his business. Isn't there some coincidence there?
all right.
Well, let's call. Well, hold on. I have to explain this stuff. We talk about Carolina. Carolina, you know, blah, blah, blah. She wrote a book and this and that.
This
We got
is
to figure.
I
totally a
think he
telenovela.
watches telenovelas, man. I'm telling you right now. Like,
No, this is not
Totally
telenovelas.
likes
These are facts.
telenovelas.
You can look.
oh
You
no,
can
I
look
mean
this stuff up.
like the way that you make it sound. This is a terrible telenovela. Like it's one of the Brasileiro ones that we're watching.
No,
Nobody
but
likes
I
Brazilian
mean,
telenovelas.
Cynthia and Peter, I have to explain this because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fans. They just Pitorado. They don't know the facts about the Pitorado.
No, people
And
just
trust
throw it
me,
around. Yeah.
if you watch the Red Press, they don't like to explain these things. You have to really do your in-depth search about this stuff. And the in-depth search is, Carolina. Carolina, every time she had a scheduled date to testify, all of a sudden she was sick. She had her sister that testified against her saying that she was a liar. All the stuff that was in the book was inaccurate. All
It's
the
not
things.
hard to say that your sister is a liar. By the way, in
Oh,
Portuguese.
but hold on, you're
No, it's
testifying it.
not.
By the way, and you have to prove it in court. And every time, if you're going to come out and you're going to write a book, and then you're going to participate as an active witness, and then you don't show up to court multiple times. It wasn't just once or twice or three times. It was almost all the time, to the point that the judge said, "Forget it." Obviously, she's lying about something.
And the
By the way,
Benfica could counter argue saying that she got paid to shut the hell up. Like Bruno, we cannot.
she got paid,
We
but she got paid by
get back
who?
into the.
Because she got paid. She got paid to write a book by who? Oh yeah, that's right, Orelhas and some other lady called, or man, I don't know what she is, Leonor Pignon. She's an active writer for Abola.
A ball,
All right,
yeah,
so
I
let's.
know. Whatever.
Okay. So as long as you know those facts, and as long as our fans know those facts, they need to
No,
know about that stuff.
It was polvo,
but I was
everybody.
just saying,
It was polvo.
that we could counter argue and say that Carolina didn't show up at court because she got paid to not show up at court.
Or
But it's something
threatened.
that
No,
I don't think we should. Yeah, it's not something that we are going to get into. It's too much, honestly. And if you want to make a whole episode about the Epitoral one day, Bruno, I will
Whole
let you.
episode. You'd have to
but-
have a whole pod just to that shit. Come on now.
Exactly. That's what I said. An episode.
An episode. No. I mean like an entire podcast
Oh, an
just
entire
about a
podcast,
Piturado
no.
and then just
Oh,
about
God.
the emails. They have shows about it. Come on.
No, but he's gonna defend himself like he has the right to. But it's still it's something that would just go on the constant loophole, and it just like it would just it's be back to the same thing over and over again. But Bruno, I just wanted to tell you that Hugo's been messaging me, every now and then, and he just said, by the way, that he wasn't messaging for controversy, that he was just, stating his opinion and stuff like that. He wasn't trying to.
This is when I was yelling at you. We can't hear you over the tetra. That's when he typed that.
I understand, Hugo. Do you hear that, Hugo? It's called the garbage truck backing up. I hear it.
Oh God! All right. Anyway, so Cynthia, you said that we had like a couple of comments or
a couple
questions
comments,
or
yeah.
whatever?
So
Okay.
the first comment we've got is from Patches Porto Kevin. He's stockpiling screenshots and has saved podcast number 86 to use against you.
Why?
This is when you said that you had a feeling Benfica would win.
No, why would you use that against me? I wouldn't back
Because
away
it's
from
Patches. Yeah,
that.
he's
I'm not
doing
going
it.
back away from that. Whatever.
I think he said he wants to save it if Porto actually do win and
That's fine.
lose, he's going to
That's
do that.
fine.
I know. I'm like, okay, bud. Classy as
Good comment.
always.
Good
then
comment,
Ugu,
Patches.
I know. Ugu did ask. Ruben Dias was given disciplinary for the Passos and SLB game, but Coentrão, Brahimi, Felipe, etc. don't. So that's a kind of more of a comment. Unless you guys want to say anything about your boys.
Hugo.
I don't know what he I don't know what he meant. So
Hugo needs a box of Kleenex.
And red velvet. All right. And then he also said, see you next week, Bruno. So next week, we've got Bruno, we've got Ugu, Patrick, me, Peter. We're going to take the day off. I'm kidding. We're going to be on. Unless we can't take
Patrick has to, has to talk about his has to talk about his Europa League game. And, and let me say something. Those are 2 games that they have to win. They have to get these 2 6 points for the coefficient.
No pressure.
No pressure, Sporting.
No problem.
All right, so how about this, Patrick? You guys go all the way to the final, and then it was the final. Is that cool?
Oh, Peter, don't be mean. Let him win something.
No. I would. It would be something that I would never forgive JJ for. It was that if he won an European title at Sporting when he failed to capture one of Benfica twice in a row, that would be something that would be forever engraved in my memory.
What does Sporting have to do with that?
I said JJ, not Sporting.
I know, JJ. But now you're punishing Sporting because of JJ.
I don't care. It would be Porto, it would be Braga, it would be Passos Ferreira, it would be Estoril, the same thing. If that man wins an European title with another team, I would.
So you just want him cursed? Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Patrick, I have a question for you. Sporting hasn't put on their TV station. They started selling finals tickets to the final yet or no?
Have they started selling tickets to the final?
Yeah.
Buying tickets to what?
No, not buying. Selling tickets to the final.
What final?
You think they jumped the gun? Like, what are you thinking here?
The Europa League. You haven't read anything. Okay, I'm just checking because there are other clubs in Portugal that do a little premature selling before they even know that they're going to the final.
But I don't know what shots he's trying to take. I don't even know what he's talking about. So he's taking shots at the dark because I don't even get the shots that he's taking.
They weren't at you.
I'll inform you. 7 years ago, I don't know how old were you. How old were you 7 years ago?
You were 7.
I was. Let's see. 20,
he was 7.
You were 13. Okay, so 13. When you were 13. After the first leg with Braga in the semifinal of the Europa League, your club started selling tickets to the final. Boys, okay.
No, I don't.
I just wanted to let you know.
I don't remember you. I don't remember that part. I remember that game. I remember vividly.
You go to Benfica TV, and they were there selling their tickets, and then when I went over to Ireland to watch it, I met a lot of Benfiquistas that were wearing Portugal jerseys, and then they were like, you could just tell who they were. Because they were wearing Portugal jerseys. I mean, who wears Portugal jerseys when Porto's playing and Braga's playing? Like, either you're wearing one or the other. You're not wearing both. You're not wearing a neutral jersey. So you already knew. Oh yeah, we bought the tickets, but what was that? But don't do it, Patrick. Don't do it.
What kills me is that you have all these asinine things in your head. Like, are there any fun facts that you can actually get money from? Like,
that's a fun fact.
You need to start.
That's a fun fact. Trust me.
It's not a fun fact for me, brother.
Oh my god.
That's very fun for me.
Well, that was interesting. But I remember that game. I remember those legs. I remember Artur having the time of his life. I remember Van Diem scoring the goal that, eventually cost us going there. I also remember. I think it was the Roberto year, right? Where I think he bailed Benfica out several times in the Europa League. I thought he had a very good outing,
Roberto,
despite everything that happened. Yeah, I think he was there.
That was his year. That was that was his year. You're right.
I thought he had a very good outing in the Europa League. I thought he would have.
Bruno, how do you have all of this shit memorized?
Because he remembers.
Because
memory.
Right?
Jesus,
I watch soccer.
Do you know your child's birthday?
Yes.
He's like, I have no.
Do you know yours?
There was a hesitation there. I don't think you do.
Yes, I do.
We could say it on live.
The one that I know of, I do.
There it is, the one he knows of, folks.
All right. So
I can't
Anyway.
talk about the ones that I don't know.
exactly.
Fun fact.
All right. So
Is that a fun
anyway,
fact for you?
Apparently.
guys? We gotta get
Alright.
quickly to the
To the predictions.
to the predictions.
shit.
I gotta
So-
hear Cynthia's prediction this week.
You're gonna lose. No, I don't know. I don't even know.
So let's
You're
let's
gonna
let's
lose.
let's start with the team that I remember who plays. So I remember who Benfica. I remember what our teams play. Okay,
Well,
never mind.
Sporting
All right,
plays
so
tomorrow
you're
against
playing
Victoria
Avs.
Plaza.
wait, what?
Yes.
Sporting play this? Oh, this week
Yeah,
they play tomorrow. I didn't
Yeah,
think
they play tomorrow.
I thought they played next
Victoria
week.
Plaza. Well, Victoria
Yes.
Plaza's already there and practicing, so.
That was my bad. I thought they played next week. That was my bad, guys.
How
Sorry
dare
about
you.
that. It's because of this Europa League. They do
That's okay.
it like really fast or whatever. Like they do it every week, and like the Champions League is like every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they got to catch up because they're around behind.
Yeah, because they have exactly. I know. All right, so let's start with that then, and wait. Is it at home? Is it Sporting
It's at
playing
home. Yep, they're at home.
Okay. Patrick, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with 3-0.
Wow, that's a hefty scoreline, Bruno.
I'm actually going to go one up on him. I'm going to say 4-0.
Jesus Christ, Cynthia.
I'm just gonna be modest and say 2-0 for Sporting.
I'll go even more modest than I'd say 2-1. I don't know. It's just, it can happen. I don't think it's going to be an super easy game.
Yeah,
Sporting comes back and they answer.
I say 3-1 because obviously Victoria Pilsen come into this game with they had a little mini winter break, and the game that they were supposed to have at the weekend was called off and all that sort of stuff. So they don't have many.
You think they
games
could
on their
feel
legs.
rust? Sure.
But they are a team that's pretty good on the counter, so we can't afford to give them too much space. But I still think, looking at Sporting's side after losing to Porto and obviously distancing themselves from the title, I think what we need is a good response tomorrow, and that's what Jesus will demand.
Yeah,
So
but
I
that's all good on paper, but who knows when they're on the field how they're going to react. That's also important.
We'll see. But 3-0 is my tip anyway.
All right. So, Benfica, Aves, Cynthia.
We're at home, so I'm going to say a good 3-0.
Yes, say 3-0, 4-0. So 4-0 for me, because I don't want to have the same scoreline as you. Patrick.
I'll have to say 4-0.
Nice, bro.
5-0.
All right. All right.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Another hat trick for Jonas there, bud.
That would be good.
No, he's going to get hurt in this game.
Oh, hey! Don't be saying mean things.
Why are you jinxing him? Stop jinxing him.
Jesus.
He's gonna pull a muscle.
Stop jinxing him. If that actually happens, I'm gonna call out Bruno Zabruchu.
And he's gonna crack his toenail.
Oh, ew!
I won't know that.
Why is it long enough to crack? Nasty.
All right. Anyway,
get stepped
on. Passport, right?
Yeah.
Right,
yes.
Okay. All right. So you go first, then, Portista.
2-0 Porto.
All right, Patrick.
I think it will be 3-1 to Porto.
Wow, same score line as me. I would say that too. And Cynthia.
I'm saying 2-2. I'm doing it. Shut up.
One of these weeks.
One of these days, a 2-2 will happen. Damn it, guys. Sporting went and screwed it up on this game, so I gotta hope Passos do it.
She's gonna be like this every single week.
2-2.
All right. Anyway, last game that we're going to be discussing is going to be Sporting Chaves, right? Yeah, Sporting Chaves. So, Patrick. Wait, Chaves Sporting? You guys play away?
Yeah.
Bye.
2 away games. Okay. Sheesh. Prediction.
1-0 to Sporting.
Bruno.
Chaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Against Pleasant. One. And would you say? Yeah, todos os contas. What would you say, Patrick? What was the score?
I said 1-0.
2-1 Sporting with nail biter. 99th minute.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with the same scoreline as Bruno, but the opposite direction. 2-1 Shabs.
I'm saying 1-0 Shavj.
All right. So you got this the odds stacked against you, Patrick. Then you can quote that you won the game next week.
Unless I tweet
Hopefully,
about it and
hopefully.
ruin your life.
You might want to tweet before the game if that's what you want, but
Well, no. Do you remember? I was like, "Oh, Patrick called this," and then it got ruined.
well, you know what to do as soon as Sporting go 1-0 up. Then
Yeah, exactly. No.
All right. So that's it for this week. We got all the predictions in. Good luck to Sporting in the Europa League.
How about you say
Good
that like
luck.
you mean it? Good luck to Sporting. JJ is not part of it. Good luck to Sporting.
May
Such
they
a
reach the
hater.
final and then lose the final. That would be terrific for coefficiency points, and it wouldn't make me unhappy.
And for personal points. Yeah.
Exactly right. Anyway, we're gonna be back here next week. Don't forget to tune in to Bruno versus Hugo. That's gonna be a good one.
Are you ready to rumble?
Exactly. Anyway, we've been running for a big while, almost 2 hours. So we got to get out of here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Thank you guys for joining us. And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Ciao.